Welcome in, everybody, to the Rant, the big, beautiful rant, as we're calling it today. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, right about this time, 2 o'clock. Used to be noon, now it's 2 o'clock. We do it from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. Welcome, everybody. All right, what do we do here? Talk radio. I like to call it talk radio for normal people. I go through all the news, the hot topics, current events, stuff like that. I'd like to tell you that I'm going to give you a full and comprehensive view of what the world is, but it's not that. This show has devolved into just me for 2 hours talking about the particular stories that interest me most. So if you're willing, come on with. Should take about 2 hours. April's in the chat room. Hi, April. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Tate. Look at me. It's like Pugsley's Angels. Look at this. Got my ladies in the chat room. Oh, how's your day been going? It's another hot one. It is hot here in North Texas, which is where we do the show from. Let's see. What is the current temperature? Oh, that's not too bad. I got 91 degrees. 91 degrees. I'll take that. I'll take that all day. I'll take that any day in August. That's not bad. August in Texas. Let's see. Who else do we need to say hi to? Anybody else in the chat room? Come on. Speak up. Let's go. Speak up or forever hold your peace. Today's trivia night. Yeah, we do trivia every Tuesday night. All right, that's my phone. That was spam. It said spam right on it, so I decided to just do a little dance for you. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm watching the TV over here. I was saying something, and now I'm completely lost. Let's get into some of the trivia tonight. That's right, it's trivia tonight. Tonight, 4060 Beltline Road in beautiful Addison, Texas. We do trivia. We give away big old bags of drugs. My mic too hot? My mic sound way too hot today? I don't know. I'm obsessing over my mic levels. Every Tuesday night, 4060 Beltline Road in beautiful swinging downtown Addison, Texas. We like to do a little trash trivia. Hector is the defending champion. Come one, come all. We give away big old bags of drugs. That's right. That's how our Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick would describe it anyway. So why not go with it? We give out big old bags of gummies, and we give out all kinds of stuff. We've got gift cards for actual food and drink and beverage there at the back nine. So who knows? Maybe you get your tab paid for. It's a possibility. It's not hard trivia either. In fact, it could be harder. I think it could be harder. But right now, baby steps. It's you know what it is? It's inviting trivia. It's not the kind of trivia that people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to play that. I don't want to look stupid. No, you won't look stupid. Although if you get I'm not going to say that. Anyway, how about tonight's categories? I see April's in the chat room. April likes when I give out the categories for tonight's trivia. Let me see what they are. Hold on. Do I have tonight's trivia categories? Well, I probably got to open the trivia folder. Yep, there we go. All right, here we go. We do 2 rounds of trivia. We do 4 categories per round. Okay, you got that? So we're talking 8 categories of trivia. Here are your 8 trivia categories for tonight. We're going to start things off in the first round with just random trivia. It's like stretching. It's like stretching before the big game. This is trivia that can come from anywhere. Could be history, could be pop culture, could be science. It's random. Category 2, we're going to do current events. That's always a category every week. Current events, I ask you questions about things that have occurred in the past 7 days. Big affairs, global affairs, that sort of thing. Current events is category 2. Then we got a category about fast food. How much do you know about fast food? I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of trivia questions about our favorite fast food establishments. It's category 3 in round 1. Category 4 in round 1, because we are in a bar and we do encourage the drinking. We're going to do drinks. That's right. Category 4 is all trivia about our favorite drinks. Trust me, you don't have to be a bartender for this category. This is just, pretty much common knowledge about the drinks we drink. That's the first round. The second round of trivia tonight at the back nine, starting at 7:30 p.m., 4060 Beltline Road. Second round's going to start out with 80s rock. 80s rock. 80s rock. Now, if I looked around and I saw that there were more young people there, then, we might not do 80s rock. But I think we got a crowd for 80s and 90s rock. I think that's going to be good. 80s rock is category 1 in round 2. Then we're going to do media creatures. What are media creatures? Well, I'll give you an example. Well, here's a good example. Hawk to a girl. Hawk to a girl is a media creature. A media creature is somebody who gains celebrity not through traditional talent, but through just notoriety of some kind. So we'll do a whole category, trivia questions concerning media creatures. That's category 2. Category 3 is something I know about, bad hair. Bad hair. That's right. It's going to be questions about people known to have bad hair. And, it's not about hair. It's just all the answers are going to be people who also happen to have bad hair. And we're going to round things up with, I always like to do a cast. So we're going to do movie casts. That'll be the final category, movie casts. I will give you 3 actors who appeared in a film together. You simply must tell me what movie they were in. It's category 4. All right, so once again, all 8 categories. We've got random, we've got current events, we've got fast food, we've got drinks, we've got 80s rock, we've got media creatures, we've got bad hair, and we've got movie casts. So if you think any of those categories are things that you could do well in, I need you to report 7:30 tonight, 4060 Beltline Road. That's Addison. Yeah, I always get like, is that Addison or Farmers? It's Addison, 4060 Beltline Road, Addison, the back nine. For trivia tonight, who's going to take out Hector? Hector. Sorry, but they're one of my favorite teams. Why? Because they're an organic team. Oh, geez, more spam. Boom, boom, boom. Won't stop. There we go. I know. A professional would turn his phone off while in the studio, but I ain't been a professional in years. I make noise with my microphone. All of that good stuff. All right. How are those categories for you, April? She's the one that I do those for. Peter's in the chat room. Hi, Peter's here. April. She says April's going to have to brush up on her 80s rock trivia. April's pretty good. April's a competitor. April's won before. April competes every week. I think last week, oh God, yeah. That's what happened last week. All right, I'm going to tell this story because it doesn't embarrass April, but it should embarrass Bill Falk, who is a tremendous trivia player. Bill Falk has won multiple tournaments that I've hosted. I know the quality of Bill Falk's trivia game, and he and April tend to team up. They work together, and they turn in damn good cards. Well, last week they had a tie card for first place. April and Bill, they turned in the card, but so did Hector. That's the organic team. And by organic, I mean, they're not here because of this. They were there once and we did trivia and they played and now they come back. And that's the goal. That is 100% the goal. So at the end of the game last week, both Team Hector and April and Bill, they turn in their cards. I do the grading and lo and behold, look at this. We got a tie, people. We got a tie. So how do I settle ties? I get one representative from each team. So up comes Hector and up comes Bill. Bad move, April. You should have said, no, Bill, I got this. I bet next time April's going to be like, no, Bill, I got this. So Bill comes up and Hector comes up. And here's how we do a tiebreaker. I just have one says bing and one says bong, and they stand in front of me and I ask them questions until one of them gets it right and the other gets it wrong. All right? So it's like rapid fire trivia. The very first question to Hector and Bill. Remember, Hector is bing, Bill is bong. I say, for the win, you guys are tied. How many cards are there in a traditional deck of playing cards. And I hear Bill go bong. And I'm like, Bill's going to win it because this is a no-brainer. And Bill proudly puffs his chest up, stands as tall as he can, and proclaims 32. To which Hector goes, huh, what did he say? And I go, yeah, what did you say? And I go, 32? And then Hector goes, it's 52. And I'm like, Hector wins. Team Hector, last week's trivia champion. By the way, last week's defending champion was James Parker of WBAP Radio 93.3 every afternoon, 2 to 5 right here in Dallas, Fort Worth. James Parker was the defending champion, and I think he got cocky, and he brought his lovely wife, the lovely Mrs. Parker, and he sucked. He, sucked. Last week, Parker was not great. I think he came in 4th, which for a guy who's defending champion, that is out of the money. That's not on the podium. All right. That's all you need to know. All you need to know, and you can look down there if you need, if you're like, hey, I'm thinking about going to that thing, so I don't have to talk about it all day. I'm just going to scroll that. Come on, come all. Trash trivia tonight, 7:30 at the Back 9, 4030 Beltline Road in Addison. Yeah, Adam, I was on time. I started right at 2 o'clock. Why? Because we got a whole crap ton of stuff that I want to get into today. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Not necessarily the biggest news stories or probably the most globally pertinent trending stories, but we're going to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. Stuff like Taylor Swift's got a new album. I'm kidding. Although that does seem to be taking precedent news-wise over everything else. What else? What else are we going to talk about today? Oh, we'll do a Maxwell update. It'll be a short one. And by the way, these are the Epstein updates. They've just become Ghislaine Maxwell updates because she's the one I'm obsessing on right now. We've got a Ghislaine Maxwell update, and it ain't good. It ain't good. I mean, unless you're pro-child global sex trafficker, then it's good news. Then you're like, oh, that's good news. But if you're on my team, the team that is against global sex trafficking, not great news coming out of the Ghislaine Maxwell story. So we'll get to that. There was a shooting yesterday right after the show in Austin, Texas. I almost signed back on. As soon as we signed off yesterday, like 2 o'clock, I started getting these alerts about a shooting. Where? At a Target. That's right. I made that reference earlier in the show yesterday. I said, I am less concerned about being carjacked in a major American city than I am being shot at a Target. I said that yesterday. And then a couple of hours later, about 100 miles away from here, somebody walks into a Target and kills a bunch of people. So we'll have that story. I'll tell you all about who he was and what's going on there. Details. Shooting in North Austin at a Target store there. So we'll give you all that. Also, the CDC is talking about a story that we haven't mentioned because, again, this happened on Friday after we had finished doing our stream. The CDC got shot at on Friday, and then we go into the weekend. We all start jet skiing, and we forget we have questions like, who did that one? Well, we've got all the answers about the CDC shooter as well. There was a big press conference this morning concerning that dude. Okay, so it's not all going to be bummer stuff today, right? We're going to talk about some other things that I find interesting, like this. Well, hold on. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Wait, do I want to do that one first? All right, here's one we'll have some fun with. There's going to be a UFC fight at the White House. There is going to be a cage match on the South Lawn of the White House. We'll talk about that. Also, Rick Perry. Remember our former governor, Rick Perry? Rick Perry's doing shrooms and shit now. He's like tripping balls, Rick Perry. He's out there advocating for like psychedelic research, and he says he's doing psychedelics now. And yeah, Captain Corvette, man. He's out there dropping shrooms, getting kooky, dancing naked at Burning Man. Yeah, that's the Rick Perry I want. What else are we going to talk about today? What else? Got the Rick Perry stuff. We got the UFC fight at the White House. I want to get into that. I know there's other things too. Oh, here's something big. We're going to talk about the most valuable sports empires in the world, this is CNBC today, this morning, released their list of the most powerful sports empires. Like people who, don't just own one team, they own a bunch of teams and all over the world and all that. So that's interesting. We'll talk about that. And then I want to play some video that was trending the last couple of days. David Justice. Do you remember David Justice, Atlanta Braves? I always think of him. Was he also a Cleveland Indian, maybe? He might have been a Cleveland Indian. Yeah, he was. He was a Cleveland. I think of him primarily as an Atlanta Brave. Maybe a Yankee? Was he a Yankee too? David Justice? I don't know, whatever. Here's what we know for sure. He was married to Halle Berry. Like back when Halle Berry was, when it was a thing to be married to Halle Berry, if you know what I mean. I mean, it would still be a thing to be married to Halle Berry, but the guy that was married to 25-year-old Halle Berry, that's prime Halle Berry is my point. Anyway, he went on a podcast and gave an interview about his time being married to Halle Berry, said some things that people are very upset with him about, but I don't know. Like, I'll give you an example. He said, well, I left her when I realized that she wasn't really going to make a good mother because she didn't cook and she didn't clean. And I'm like, all right, so that's David Justice's deal breaker for Halle Berry. I'm like, my deal break, my bar's a little higher. She would have to do something much worse than that to get me to walk out on Halle Berry. But we'll listen to it. We'll talk about it. And strangely enough, I may have to defend him in some regard. All right, we're going to do all that plus a whole bunch more. It is a lot of stuff going on today, so let's get into it. Right out of the top, I did want to mention Taylor Swift has a new album. It's the big story. It's the one everybody cares most about. Apparently, she said this on her boyfriend's podcast. The Kelsey brothers talk about how great their life is. I think that's what the podcast is called. She went on the podcast and she said, I got a new album and it's called Life as a Showgirl. And the whole world erupted. So there you go. I don't know. It's not like it dropped. I don't think there's music going around. Although maybe there is because, she's so calculated. And I don't mean to say that she is so calculated. She's a professional. She knows exactly what she's doing. But her team, her people around her are so calculated. So I can't imagine that she would be allowed to go on and make an announcement like a new album dropping, knowing the frenzy that it would cause, and then not like have music ready to go. Like I would think like there'll be a leak now. Now we get the leak. This is the new Taylor sound. Here's the leak. Anyway, we'll see. I don't care about this story. My friend Lacey's probably going to be unreachable now for the next week because of this story, but there you go. Taylor Swift has announced that she's got a new album and it's called Life as a Showgirl. I don't know when it's coming out. The other big story this morning that we woke up to was here we go. So a report came out from one of them government agencies that makes reports about how we doing. Basically a report card day. Usually happens around the very first Friday heading into a new month or, a new month begins. So it's usually the first Friday. That's where we get the jobs numbers and all of that kind of stuff. And I've been telling you for years, folks, that it doesn't matter who's in there. They will find a way to spin the numbers to say what they want to say, right? So don't ever get twisted about this stuff. Well, last Friday, the first load of numbers came in, and apparently there was a problem with the job numbers. And the president didn't like the job numbers. And look, I tell you to not pay attention to these things anyway, but the president's not listening to me. The president's like all caught up in it. And he's like, these are wrong. And what did he do? He fired the woman who created the statistics. He fired the woman who he killed the messenger. Okay. If I can go back to medieval parlance, the term kill the messenger. There was a problem with, giant man baby kings who would get a messenger from the front and the king would say, how's the war going? And the messenger would be like, we're getting our ass kicked, sire. And the king would kill the messenger because the messenger Trump did that on Friday. He just fired the woman who because she didn't like the numbers. The numbers were bad. So he called them lies and then he fired the woman. That was Friday night. There you go. That's Friday. So this morning, some new numbers had to be released. Now, let me ask you, what do you think was going on like last night in the office that released these numbers? You think they're like, oh, fuck, these aren't good. So anyway, the inflation numbers came out. And I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time in our nation's grocery stores. One grocery store in particular, the Kroger there at Greenville and Mockingbird. It's called the SMU Kroger. It's where I go. Prices are through the roof. Prices are insane. I don't know if this is because actual prices have increased or if this is anticipatory on the part of big business where they know that we are expecting prices to go up. So why not? They'll just raise them now. I don't know, but prices are absolutely going up. Don't gaslight me. Prices are going up. There were 2 pounds of ground beef in the Kroger discount bin. I'm always looking at the discount meat. In the Kroger discount bin, 2 pounds of ground beef for $12. That was the discount. That was the markup. That means that a discounted pound of ground beef is selling at Kroger for $6. No, discounted ground beef costs no more than $3. That's the whole reason it's discounted. But no, suddenly it's $6. And now we've got 2 pounds of discounted Nolan Ryan ground beef for $12. And they're like, hey, that's a good deal, huh? No, it is not a good deal. That's normal prices. And by the way, Nolan Ryan, and I don't mean to get into Nolan Ryan and his beef company, but which, by the way, I think we all know Nolan Ryan beef's pretty good. Nolan Ryan, why is there a markup on cows that are living right now like 30 miles away from me? Why do they go through China? And then is there a tariff on the way back? Why are you raising the prices? There was no mad cow outbreak last spring that I remember. So anyway, the numbers got released today, the inflation numbers, and guess what? They're fucking great, man. Inflation ain't a thing. Inflation ain't a problem. Way lower than the experts said it was going to be. Nobody wants to get fired, man. Nobody wants to get fired. Nobody wants to turn in the latest statistics and know they're going to get fired. So, of course, we're all shocked this morning to see that despite our own actual experiences in grocery stores, the inflation numbers are in our favor. They're flat. Grocery prices are flat. That's what it said. No, they're not. They are not flat. Stop lying to us. My God, I could put up with like 80% of the nonsense you guys do if you would just stop lying to us on the obvious shit. The fucking saying the quiet part out loud has become normalized now. Everybody says the quiet part out loud. Don't gaslight me, okay? I know prices are going up, so we're not celebrating today. Hey, did you see the inflation report? Stop it. James Parker texted me. What is he on, a commercial break? Trivia tonight. James Parker, trivia tonight, he says. You damn right. You damn right, I respond. Seriously, he's on the air right now. He's on the air right now, WBAP 93.3. Is he in a commercial break? Bottom of the hour. He sure is. He certainly is. Bottom of the hour. That's what he did. Called me when he went into a break. He probably did something like, and Barack Obama was born in Haiti. We're going to take a quick break. And then he texted me. I'm like, oh, it's James. All right. Let's see. What else? Okay, so we did the Taylor Swift album. We talked about the inflation. The report came out today. Everything's good. Everything's good. Better than expected. Yikes. All right, now let's get into our Epstein update, which I have sort of modified recently to be a Maxwell update because, this has been the sole focus of my ire, the treatment of Ghislaine Maxwell since she met with Todd Blanche, the second in command there at the Department of Justice, and she got moved from a bad prison to like a really good prison. She doesn't even have a fence, man. This is a woman who facilitated the rape of unknown amounts of women, little girls for a bunch of wealthy, scummy billionaire pedophiles. And she's in a tax cheat prison now with no fences, no nothing. It's insane. Well, comes word today. This is why I say this is not good. Comes word today that apparently Ghislaine Maxwell, in the deal that was signed that moved her, and by the way, we got to see this deal. Can we see the deal too? She asked for most of the same things that Jeffrey Epstein asked for from the Florida prosecutors when he got his sweetheart deal that everybody now is like, why did he get a sweetheart deal? She asked to be eligible for work release so that while she's staying down there at Bryan Prison Women's Camp in Texas, while she's staying down there, she can be eligible to slap on an ankle bracelet and maybe go sell some dresses in town at some salon. Ghislaine Maxwell has work release privileges at her new prison. Think about that. Don't be okay with that. That is absurd. And this is what I say about saying the quiet part out loud and normalizing things. That's just happening right now. She doesn't have a job. And I don't know that there's some intention for her to start working the drive-through at the local Starbucks next week. I don't know. But it was revealed that she has this. She has this deal where it's possible that she can gain work release. Ghislaine Maxwell. You know she molested the children too, right? Like, we're not just going to think that like she was just there. She was like a secretary. No, she was involved in like group orgies and threesome sex. That was how the girls originally were brought into the bed with Jeffrey, because they felt comfortable because Ghislaine was there and she was sort of like their groomer. So now Ghislaine Maxwell has work release privileges. That's where we are, and we're all just okay with it. Nothing to see here, folks. All right, what else do we got here? Now let's get into some things that are also very upsetting, although in a different way. Let's talk about the Target shooting there in Austin yesterday. This happened just as we were signing off the show. Excuse me. So I just started to see. I started to see reports online. I didn't get any on my phone. You know, usually I'm alerted to these kinds of shootings or big law enforcement response events. I'm alerted to them from a couple of apps that I have that monitor these big stories and police scanners around the country. And I got none of them. I had no idea. But I'm watching online, right? So I'm on a hashtag. I'm on an Austin, Target, and mass shooting. I'm watching all of these things. And I'm like, there is something going on. Why is there no scanner? So I had to go into the scanner and I actually had to write Austin, Texas. And then I got a bunch of stuff that came up and I started to listen, and I contemplated going back on the air. This was at about 2. I think we ended the show at like 3:50 yesterday, I think. And it was like at 4:00. I'm like, oh, am I going to go back on the air? I'm like, is this a thing? But then rather quickly, it seemed like the person was in custody, and so I decided not to, and I decided to just wait and see, how this whole thing shook out. And that's what we did this morning. So now we've got some answers. We've got some answers about what went down in Austin, Texas yesterday at a Target store. Again, we've got our boxes. Let's lay them all out in front of us. All of these shootings will fit into one of these boxes. Is it going to fit into the Ali Akbar, this is Islamic terror box? Is it going to fit into the I'm a middle-aged white American and I don't like this place anymore box? Is it going to fit into the husband and wife or family going through a bad divorce box? Is it going to go into the discontented worker box going postal? There are a couple of boxes here. We need to figure it out so that I can gauge accurately how frightened I should be by this story. So at first, it seemed like it might have been a family thing. Like it might have been the kind of story that turns out to be, well, they're going through a divorce and she's trying to take the kids and, she's seeing his best friend, and these things tend to resolve themselves in the parking lot of places like Target. And that's where this shooting occurred. The shooting did not make it inside the Target store. Not entirely sure why. How many people were killed? Let me see here. Sorry. The reason that I thought maybe it was a parental thing or a family thing was because there was a child involved. One of the people shot was a little kid. Where is this? Hold on. Sorry, I had the story. There it is. Well, all right, let's read the story. Suspect in North Austin Target shooting has been identified. He faces multiple murder charges. I believe 3 people died here. We'll find out in a second. The suspect in Monday's deadly shooting in a North Austin Target has been identified. Hey, if you're playing racial bingo, 32-year-old white guy, Ethan Blaine Nineker. There you go. James Parker, who just texted me again. He's famous for playing racial bingo. All right, this guy's a 32-year-old white kid, and I say kid because 32 still seems like a kid to me. According to online records, he was booked into Travis County Jail on 3 charges: capital murder by terror threat, capital murder of a person under 10 years of age. Oh my God, did the kid die? Okay, so he killed a kid in the parking lot of Target. The kid died, apparently. Capital murder of a person under 10 years of age. That's a hard one. And first-degree murder. The shooting occurred yesterday afternoon at a Target store located at 8601 Research Boulevard. It left 3 people dead, 1 other injured. According to police, Nineker fled the scene. This is the parking lot. He started shooting in the parking lot. Fled the scene and allegedly carjacked a vehicle with one of the victims believed to be the driver of that car. I don't know what that means. After crashing the first okay, so he gets into this shootout. You know what? I don't need to read it because I can just tell you what happened. So he pulls into the Target store. He apparently has got guns, and he just starts firing at people walking through the Target store. He was walking his way towards the Target store. Something made him turn, okay? And he began to run. Maybe it was another, good guy with a gun, if you will, one of those kinds of deals. But he ended up running, and he found a woman who was just pulling out of a parking spot. He tore her out of the car, jumped in, sped off in that car, crashed it almost immediately, and then I believe carjacked another. Let's keep going. 3 vehicles. 3 vehicles were heavily damaged when the Target shooter crashed a stolen car into a parking lot. Let's look at some of these pictures. This is not a good story. All right, you know what we're going to do? We'll just take a look at this guy, and I'll tell you what he is, okay? He's a whack job who was off his meds. There you go. Is that box? Where's that? That's right. I didn't mention that box. There is the mentally insane person who has unbelievable easy access to high-powered killing machines, and he didn't take his meds. So sorry, your daughter got killed at Target today. Wish there was something we could do about that. Sorry, Dad. Let's take a look at this kid. Psycho. I mean, he is. He's a psycho. All right, here he is. So there's a picture of him, right? 32 years old. Look at him. There he is again. Austin PD identifies triple homicides. He's a good-looking kid, man. 32-year-old good-looking kid. Whole world was probably in front of him. What is this? Ethan Nineker is accused of. Let's hear what this is.
Nathan Sexton. He is one of our 2 homicide sergeants. Nathan Nathan, last name Sexton Sexton. After Sergeant Sexton, we will be fielding questions. Those were the lives we lost yesterday. Really painful time for our
let's hear this
are experiencing. The sights you faced yesterday will never leave you.
Right.
Feel safe to run their everyday errands and do with the Austin Police Department, which includes assault causing bodily injury to a family member, driving while intoxicated, possession of marijuana, violation of a protective order, and 2 mental health reports.
Okay, so this is his history. This is his history that, he's recorded as being. Let's go back to that again. I want to hear it.
2 years of age. He felt by our community for years to come. The suspect in this has been identified as Ethan Nineker, a white male, 32 years of age.
Why are they saying white?
Nineker has a history with the Austin Police Department, which includes assault.
Did you notice that, though? She's very comfortable going, he's 32 years old, he's a white guy. I'm just pointing it out. It's interesting. If that upsets you, there's something wrong with you. Like, if you're a white guy who's like, yeah, why? Yeah, Pugs. See, I'm being silly about it. I'm like, yeah, that's a stupid thing, but yeah, it is kind of weird. If you're really upset by that, you're weird. Stop being weird. toughen up. He's a white guy. I want her to say black guy too. I want her to say Hispanic. I want her to say Chinaman. Well, probably can't say that one, but you know what I mean? I want her to, I would like, this nonsense to go away. But here she is, very comfortable describing him as a white man.
Ethan Nineker, a white male, 32 years of age. Nineker has a history with the Austin Police Department, which includes assault causing bodily injury to a family member, driving while intoxicated, possession of marijuana, violation of a protective order, and 2 mental health reports.
All right, so let's work through these. So he beat up a family member. That's an indication of probably some kind of out of control rage issues, some kind of mental thing. Okay. Got a DUI. That's not a big crime. I mean, it's a antisocial crime, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not rape. Okay. It's not child molesting. It's a DUI. So we got that. What else did he do? Weed possession, right? It's another reason weed possession. It's not a big crime. But then there's the mental health stuff. So this dude is not okay. He has never been okay. He is on record as not having been okay for quite some time. So how'd he get his guns?
We know this incident has left many of you feeling shaken within our community, but I want to assure everyone here that the suspect is now in custody. And at this point, we'll let justice take its course. I want to thank the community members who took time and who acted quickly, who called 911, provided witness statements, understanding that they were inside target, came out. We had many witnesses who were there that stayed for hours to help assist us. So I want to thank them. Our department is fully committed to seeking justice for the.
I really just want her to give us the timeline. I really want her to go, we received a call with so-and-so. Okay,
these
let's
victims.
See if we can get to that.
And there are times like this, we must come together.
Maybe this guy will
Yesterday on Monday, August 11th,
Here we go.
at approximately 2:15 p.m., officers responded to multiple calls of 911 shooting at the target at 8601 Research Boulevard. When officers arrived, they found target employee Hector Martinez Machuca suffering from gunshot wounds. He was transported to the hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. Nearby, officers located Adam Chow, his wife, and their 4-year-old granddaughter. Mr. Chow and the child had been fatally shot, and Mr. Chow's wife had sustained minor injuries.
Killed a dude who worked at Target. So the first person he looked to shoot was Hector. I think that's what they said his name was. Hector, the Target employee. Okay. So he's wearing the vest. He's got the big Target on there, Oh boy, how could he resist? And then he turns his gun on a grandma, a grandpa, and a 4-year-old, and he kills grandpa and the 4-year-old. Why this? We are so scabbed over when it comes to how we feel about these things now. It's like a grandpa, a grandma, and a 4-year-old went to Target, and the 4-year-old got fatally wounded by a bullet.
Chow, his wife, and their 4-year-old granddaughter. Mr. Chow and the child had been fatally shot, and Mr. Chow's wife had sustained minor injuries. Our investigation showed that the suspect, Ethan Nineker, first shot Mr. Martinez Machuca as he was collecting carts in the parking lot. He then approached Chow's family vehicle, shooting and killing Mr. Chow and the 4-year-old before assaulting.
So it's random. He was just a human being who decided that he was going to take a whole bunch of us out with him. That's what it is. It's not, he didn't have beef at the Target or whatever. He didn't have beef with Hector, the Target employee, because how could Hector, the Target employee, and the Chow family both have it was a random shooting. So there we go. That box off the meds, crazy white man off the meds, big box right there.
Mrs. Chow and stealing their gray Toyota 4Runner. Over the next hour, Nineker committed multiple crimes, including attempting to steal a water truck.
And by the way, I do need to say that I did specifically said crazy white man, because white men do not pay any attention to their mental health. None. This has been seen in studies for some reason, especially successful white men. Successful middle-class, middle-aged white men have never been to therapy. It's weird. off their meds. They're not even taking meds.
Truck, causing multiple crashes, assaulting another female driver, and stealing her Volkswagen. He then approached Chow's family vehicle, shooting and killing Mr. Chow and the 4-year-old before assaulting Mrs. Chow and stealing their gray Toyota 4Runner.
So it sounds like he just executed a 4-year-old. Doesn't sound like they got caught and, stray bullets flying because he was spraying. No, it sounds like he walked up wanting the car, shot grandpa, and then aimed his gun at a 4-year-old child.
Over the next hour, Nineker committed multiple crimes, including attempting to steal a water truck, causing multiple crashes, assaulting another female driver, and stealing her Volkswagen. He also attempted to break into a Waymo vehicle, vandalized the home of an acquaintance, and was later seen naked in a residential backyard. Officers ultimately located him walking
Have a day, huh?
on Montclair Street. After refusing commands, he was tased and taken into custody at 3:06 p.m. As for the charges, Nineker has been charged with 2 counts of capital murder for the deaths of Adam Chow and the 4-year-old juvenile victim, as well as the first-degree felony murder of Hector Martinez Machuca. Additional charges are pending related to assaults, vehicle thefts, and property damage. This case is being investigated as Austin's 39th, 40th, and 41st homicide of 2025. We are asking for anyone who has additional information. We know there are many people out there who may record this, taking photos.
There you go. Okay, so there's our update. If that had happened 4 years ago, I'd be watching right now out of the corner of my eye. I'd be watching CNN. Anderson Cooper would be down there in Austin, standing in a parking lot with a whole bunch of flowers and wreaths behind him, being all somber. It would have been the big story. This story, this shooting, you heard the mayhem that occurred down there in Austin yesterday afternoon on a beautiful Texas August Monday afternoon. Absolute mayhem. Found naked in somebody's backyard after stealing multiple cars, a Ryder truck, shooting a grandpa in a crazy day. Not a blip on the media. Why? Because it's been normalized. Because this ain't a big story. These happen all the time. We used to stop everything and cover these and clutch our pearls and talk about the shame of it all. But, that was before it was happening every day. So now it's just something that happens in America. What do you want us to report when the trains run on time? Come on. We can't report everything. We've got to talk about how much Trump lies and how Biden's, got dementia. That's the stuff we need to talk about. We don't want to have any awkward conversations about guns and mental health and all of that kind of stuff. No. Did you see Trump? He was on the roof. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? We've got an update on another one of these things that happen because, yes, they do happen every day. On Friday, on the campus of, it was originally reported to have going on the campus of Emory University there in Atlanta. This was actually surrounding the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, which coincidentally is also on the campus of Emory University. So I thought it was a college school shooting. So I started listening, and there seemed to be a whole bunch of stuff going on out in front of a CVS store. Manhunt was going on. No body count. What is going on down here? There's a guy who was shooting, and then reports started trickling in that he's shooting at the CDC. And then it sort of became, okay, I get it. This is another crazy person, and the CDC is his target. Because what? Fucking Fauci? Well, he doesn't work there anymore, genius. Killed a cop. This dude killed a cop. He pulled up in front of the CDC, got out of his car, took a bunch of guns that he took from his dad. This is another mental case, known mental case. Took guns, started firing 300 rounds. They said 300 rounds at the CDC from the street corner right there in front of the CVS. A DeKalb County Sheriff's Officer, David, where's his name? I want to make sure we got his name. David Rose gave his life. Saw this psychopath. David Rose, DeKalb County Sheriff, pulls his gun, tries to end the situation right here. He loses his life. Loser boy runs inside the CVS. Apparently now he's spraying the CVS. He hit no one because he's incompetent. And then he kills himself. Kills himself up there at the CVS. So here's the story that we have about who he is, what he is. Again, play some racial bingo. No, we don't have to. It's another white dude. It's another white crazy dude. 32 this time. Isn't the kid in Austin was 30? This one is 32. Jeez Louise. The accused shooter, who authorities previously identified as 30-year-old Kennesaw resident Patrick White, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Rounds from an Emory University officer did not hit White, police explained. So there was some wondering, how did this guy go out? Was he taken out by this other cop, this Emory University cop, or did he kill himself? Turns out now we know that this loser, I'm going to shoot the CDC, this loser killed himself. It says here that White was armed with 5 weapons, including a rifle and a shotgun that he took from his father's safe. Authorities have spent the weekend interviewing his father. More than 500 shell casings. Wow, that's up from 300. More than 500 shell casings were recovered from the crime scene, the majority of them being fired from a rifle. White had no known criminal history, but did voice his discontent socially or on social media with the COVID-19 vaccine and the CDC. Authorities found written documents expressing ill feelings about the vaccine, though White made no direct threats. All right, there you go. Another crazy person ginned up by your nonsense online who thinks that the workers at the CDC, just normal people like your neighbors who have a fucking government office job, who are now suddenly the enemy because somebody you never met before got you all fucking spun up on Twitter. My God, have some emotional respect for yourself. This idiot. There's a dead cop, David Rose. There's a dead DeKalb cop because this guy read something on Twitter or wherever, 4chan, Reddit, wherever the fuck these weirdos, and you know who they are. They're all these right weirdos who got spun up over the vaccine. They want to kill people. So he goes and he starts, I'm not going to give you a whole vaccine. The vaccine came out, I took it. I took the vaccine. Why? Because it's a disease, man, and I trust doctors. Maybe you don't. Maybe you got the homespun wisdom where you're just going to chance it, and good for you. Good for you if you survived. Guess what? I took the vaccine. I survived, okay? I survived. Although I will say this about that fucking vaccine. The booster, I never got as sick. I had scarlet fever when I was a kid, and I think I was really sick then. And I've had mono. I have never been as sick as I got for about 12 hours after getting the booster. That fucking thing. I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room. I was so sick. I'm like, why did you give me this? I didn't have it and you gave it to me. So what? So I can't get it again? The fuck kind of logic is that? Anyway, no matter how upset I was about the booster getting me so sick, it did make me go, no more. I'm good. If I don't have the antibodies now, fuck it. What do I have to live for anyway? But I never wanted to go and shoot up secretaries at the CDC because I'm not fucking crazy. Okay? Too many crazy people out there. Oh, and by the way, I am crazy. I shouldn't say, I am, I've been in therapy for a long time. I am not scary crazy. I'm not the kind of crazy that ends up, fighting a cop in a bar parking lot at 3 a.m. But I understand what I have. I'm in control of my malady, the curse, as I call it. Depression, that's a mental illness. I got it. But again, I don't want to shoot up the CDC. I don't want to kill some janitor because what do you clean up the toilets at the CDC? What are you, a libtard? All right, so that's what we got. So there you go. So we are updated on the Austin shooting and we are updated on the CDC shooting. And who knows, maybe tomorrow we'll have a whole nother update for you on the next shooting that will be completely ignored by media. All right, now, speaking of getting ginned up online, speaking of how we need to be better, okay, and we need to understand that there are forces at work here that we need to be aware of. Those forces are narrative builders, bot farms, thousands and thousands of people who will spread a unified message about something that is maybe a little bit antisocial. But because you start seeing it all the time, you yourself, as a normal person, you go, I do kind of think that. I would never say it out loud, but now I feel comfortable saying it out loud. So now you participate. That's what happens. This is what happens. And to that effect, we have a story here now that I want to talk about the internet just ginning people up and making something appear to be true that is just simply not true. So let's talk about the big story of last week. The big story of last week was Sydney Sweeney's a fascist. By the way, not even fascist. It's Nazi, right? Good genes. That's eugenics. She said it's Nazi. It's Nazi. I understand fascism, Nazi, socialism, Nazi, or communist. I get it, but shut up, okay? So Sydney Sweeney did a jeans commercial and it's one of the most effective commercial campaigns ever. Whoever the dude was, whoever the Don Draper who did this is a god. He's going to win awards. I mean, American Eagle? I haven't thought about American Eagle in like decades. And now all of a sudden everybody's talking about American Eagle. And I'm explaining to my 16-year-old how there used to be an American Eagle store in the mall when I was a kid. American Eagle is back as a brand. Why? Because they hired a really hot, popular actress. And they did a Brooke Shields commercial for Calvin Klein back in 1980, where she talks about, she blurs the line. What is she talking about? Is she talking about her good genetics because she's fucking gorgeous? Or is she talking about the denim that she's putting on? That was the point, the misdirect, if you will, of the 1980 Brooke Shields Calvin Klein commercial. The Brooke Shields commercial, that had a whole other problem because she was 15. She was 15 in that commercial, and she was obviously trying to be seductive in a way that would attract grown-ass men, and it was just, but hey, it was 1980. We didn't think of such things. So Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle, they kind of redo that commercial. They take the same idea. And, we played it here. You've all seen it. Everybody's talked about it. Sydney Sweeney. Is it my good jeans? I've got jeans are handed down jeans. It's very sexy. It's a silly commercial. But because we live and many people exist in this weird Twitter social media vacuum where it's just all of these voices that say things that apparently they want, right? People you follow, and I like this person. I'm going to follow them and I'm going to think like them. So this commercial sort of seeped into all of these people's feeds, and the narrative that was crafted by these aforementioned bot farms with 10,000 people trying to push a narrative, the thing that was pushed was that this is racist. And that I think we can be honest about who they're talking about. Liberals and Democrats are freaking out about this, and they're all calling her, and it was trending, and it was number one, and it was a huge thing. And all the people on the right, and President Trump was like, I like Sydney because the libs think she's a race. That was the narrative. Now, it was very good for American Eagle because everybody's talking about American Eagle. It's very good for the right. President Trump's like, I like Sydney Sweeney now. It was very good. It was completely false. It was completely false. It was false like all Democrats want to defund the police. Completely false. Completely false. Like, if you're a Democrat, then you must be okay with a grown-ass man competing against a woman. I mean, just completely false narratives that are being created by, I believe, agents of chaos being paid by the right to paint the left in this crazy fucking way. There are no Democrats who saw that fucking video and went, she's a racist. You know what there are? There are shit stirrers online looking for clicks who did that. So it was amplified. And y'all thought it was all everybody. Bottom line is this. Nobody was upset by it. Very few people thought that was racist. Yet, because of the way the story played out, you would think that the entire left was at it again. So how do we know this? Because as of this morning, there is big polling out on the Sydney Sweeney ad. That's right. Got the numbers for you. Of course, the biggest story of last week, and now They dropped a poll in the field to see how Americans really feel about the Sydney Sweeney ad. Was it something that people were truly upset about, or was this all internet Twitter bullshit? 12% of Americans found the Sydney Sweeney ad offensive. 12%, which I still think is alarmingly high. That means, but that would explain the 12% of fucking Karens, the 12% of people who always find a problem with something, who just want to be the victim of something that's happened. I can't believe that I saw a Nazi ad with Sydney Sweeney. Those people, that's your 12%. They're mentally ill too. They are mentally ill, just in a different way. Nobody cared, but it was good for the right and good for Trump and all that stuff if they made it seem like all the libs cared about this. And again, I follow a lot of people of a lot of different, nobody was like, that's fascist. You know who was saying that? Weird accounts that have like thousands of followers, but don't truly seem to be real people. They always have the same narrative on their page. You've seen these accounts that start these things. They're not real people. Their job is to get real people. Their job is to get real fucking stupid people all upset about something. Gin them up. Saw an ad. There's an ad going around one of these people, one of these bot sites, one of these fucking agent provocateurs, if you were. It's going around now. And it shows the Hawk Tua girl and Carolyn Levitt. In the headline, it's a real news story. It looks like a news story. As a matter of fact, I think it looks like it's from like the New York Post or something, but it looks like a real headline. And it says, Hawk Tua girl Haley Welch appointed to Trump's communications department by, and then the Amy Schumer hot chick. You know, the chick who does who's that chick? Carolyn Levitt. She's fuckable Amy Schumer. So that's the headline. That's the story that's going around. Hawk Tua girl appointed by Carolyn Levitt to Trump's communication department. So I looked at it and I went, well, that's obviously not true. Even that's a bridge too far for the nuttiness that's happening here. So I click on the comments, and the comments are all liberals who are like, I can't believe what's next from this White House. This is just typical. It's like they all believe the fucking headline. And I'm like, do none of you people cross-reference? I mean, this isn't a real story. It's not a real story, but another example of how the internet, and these are foreign sources, you guys. These are foreign. I don't want to get into the whole, tampering and all that, but this is chaos terrorism. We are in a new age of social media. If foreign entities can get the average American dumb fuck to think something incorrect, that is an advantage to our adversaries. So stop pretending like this isn't happening. It is happening, and it's constantly trying to divide us. I've been saying this now for 4 years. All right, so back to the Sydney Sweeney story. A new poll has revealed a stark disconnect between social media outrage and actual public opinion regarding the viral Sydney Sweeney ad campaign for American Eagle. Just 12% of Americans surveyed saying they found the ad offensive. This was a YouGov, the Economist YouGov poll conducted August 9th through the 11th, asked respondents whether they found the advertisement featuring the Euphoria star more offensive or more clever after viewing the campaign, which featured the tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Here's the result of the study. Okay. 39% of everybody polled found the ad clever. Remember, they were given the choice. Did you find this ad more clever, or did you find this ad more offensive? Like, we get the line here, which is more on the side of clever, or is it more on the side of offensive? By a wide margin, 39% of people found the ad clever. Only 12% found it offensive, with 40% saying neither. It's just an ad, and 8% they were unsure. I love the unsures. I don't know. Is there a wrong answer? I don't want to say the wrong answer. I don't know. I'm not sure. Who the fuck are these people? The 8%. Did you find the Sydney Sweeney ad more clever or more offensive? What did you think? What did you find it? Did you find it? I'm afraid of my own shadow. I'm 8% of the American population. 40% I like. 40% is like it's fucking ad, man. 40% neither. I didn't find it particularly clever or at all offensive. It's fucking neither. It's an ad. She's fucking hot. I don't know. Is that something? They asked me if I find it, more hot or less hot. I'd definitely come down on the side of hot. Again, 12% of the people polled by the Economist YouGov found the ad offensive. Only 12%. And you know that's like the worst fucking people out there. All right, so just so we're clear, we tracked it, right? Don't be thinking that half the people that at least the ones that are progressive-minded or liberal, whatever, just don't be thinking that they're all like, they think it's fine, because only weirdos think that. Only fucking weirdos think we should defund the police. Only fucking weirdos think that, a guy who was a boy last semester should be able to compete against women in college athletics. And only a weirdo thinks that Sydney Sweeney is a Nazi because of that ad. There we go. Stop being weird. Hey, speaking of stop being weird, keep Austin weird, who used to live in Austin, the governor, who's the former governor, Rick Perry, he's getting weird. That's right, Governor Rick Perry, who's also a former cabinet secretary. He didn't last long. He got out of there pretty quick. And then he went down to his ranch. Wait, can't remember. What's Rick Perry's ranch called again? Rick Perry's family has a ranch here in Texas. Something, I don't know. Look it up. All right. So anyway, Rick Perry, he's not an old man. He's in his 60s. He's been governor. He's been a cabinet secretary in a presidential administration. He's been essentially drummed out of mainstream Republican politics. Whatever is going on with the MAGA isn't really his thing. He was always just more of a Texas conservative. So he's finding himself kind of adrift with a whole lot of life left in front of him. So what is guy I used to call Captain Corvette? Do you remember when he was governor and he got pulled over driving a Corvette? He got pulled over speeding and he gets out of the car and he's like, I'm the governor. He still got a ticket. Good. That cop who pulled him over is now Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Anyway, Rick Perry is now looking for ways to kill his time. And guess what he's doing? He's eating shrooms and he's like taking trips and he's going down to Mexico and he's lying on a beach. Yeah. Captain Corvette. Yeah. Rick Perry, man. He's like advocating now for the legalization of psychedelic drugs. Rick Perry. Jeez, this dude could have made weed legal in Texas, 20 years ago. But back then he's like, Jesus doesn't like to get high. And now he's like, let's trip balls, brah. There you go. Look at this story. This story comes to us from the New York Times, no less a source. I know, depends. Honestly, but that's a terrible source. Okay, go back to the Babylon Bee then. I don't know what to tell you, pal. Okay. Here you go. Look at this. Look at this headline there in the New York Times. The long, strange trip of Rick Perry. The former Texas governor and Trump energy secretary has now dedicated his life to promoting the powerful psychedelic ibogaine. Says he's got no money in it. Says he's not like an investor in it or anything. It's something that he took and it changed his life. All right, let's go into this story. Let's get rid of that. All right, let me tell you the story about how Rick Perry, our former governor and one-time presidential hopeful, turned into a big deadhead. On Tuesday morning in September of 2023, in a medical clinic just outside Tijuana, Mexico, Rick Perry, the former Republican presidential candidate, energy secretary, and Texas governor, laid down on a mattress, put on an eye mask, and soon began to believe that he was hurtling through space and time. Objects flew past him. Some of them appeared to resemble Mayan hieroglyphics. He saw an arm reaching out for him, and attached to it was a figure with horns. "Satan, get behind me," he heard himself say. The figure then instantly disappeared. Mr. Perry's hallucinations, induced by the powerful psychotropic drug Ibogaine he had taken about 45 minutes before putting on the eye mask, continued for another 12 hours. That's good. Nope. Dude, I don't want to trip for 12 hours. I don't want to trip with Rick Perry for 12 hours. That's for sure. The last time I did any kind of psychedelic, probably 30 years ago, probably a good 30 years ago. I've only done psychedelics like 3 or 4 times. Awesome. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you right now, awesome. I mean, it's not something you can do every day, but in the right situation, if you're being responsible about, you're not driving anywhere. As a matter of fact, I would suggest don't go outside. I would just like to lay down in a dark closet and just leave me to my thoughts. That's all I need. But the last time I did it, probably about 30 years ago, I've told this story before. I did it in a tea. This is a Native American custom. It's in a tea, and the Indians and it did too much of it. Whoever was like making this tea didn't know the ingredients. There was too much. Drank way too much. Tripped balls for like the next 20 hours. I was just like, make it stop. Okay, I'm ready to be normal again. So anyway, Rick Perry went down to Tijuana and tripped for 12 hours on a funky mattress. Some floor, chickens and goats walking around. Rick Perry, former governor, former energy secretary, just laying on some fucked up stained mattress on the floor. Mr. Perry's hallucinations, induced by the Ibogaine, blah, 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 would last for more than 12 hours. The experience was an ordeal. He vomited intermittently and lost much of his body coordination. It took all of Wednesday the next day to recover. See, he took too much. That's way too much. If you're throwing something that's too much, that's not fun. But on Thursday morning, right, because he did it on Tuesday, tripped all day Tuesday, then was like recovering on Wednesday. But on Thursday morning, Mr. Perry recalled in describing his experience publicly for the first time. He says, "I woke up very clear-headed with this very warm feeling in my body. I was as calm and as happy as I'd been in memory." Since that experience, Perry, 75, okay, he's older than I thought. But he's still not old. Since that experience, Mr. Perry, 75, a social conservative, staunchly so, has emerged as a leading champion of Ibogaine as a potential treatment for brain trauma, addiction, and even cognitive decline. Perry was an unlikely keynote speaker at the Psychedelic Science Conference in Denver last June. Okay, there you go. Anyway, we don't need any more on it. Just all you need to know is that Rick Perry is just another in a long line of people who have made great fame for themselves, demonizing something they know nothing about. And Rick Perry, and in his case, it was the evil weed, the devil's lettuce, and drugs and all that. Do you think Rick Perry in 2004 would have had a conversation with you about the benefits of psychotropic medications? Fuck no. Because back then, he was a closed-minded asshole. But, get him fucking high, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, since it happened to me, I get it. I completely lack empathy or the ability to understand what other people experience. But now that it's happened to me, I think that trips should be legal. All right. Well, welcome over to our side, Rick. But fuck you. And that's all I have to say. Rick Perry is tripping balls. No, I really am a great ad. Now, many of you know that I used to work with charity organizations, and we focused almost exclusively on veterans. And with the boys there at Hire a Hero, they were exclusively with returning veterans. So when I was in Chicago, when I moved back, I remember I went to some veterans charity group. It was like a mini conference. It was at the Omni in Chicago. And I remember sitting in a room, and I went to one of the rooms where someone was speaking about psychedelics and post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I remember talking to some of the dudes that I knew, and they were like, yeah, that's what I do. It's like, I go once a week and I take, I do mushrooms and, it helps me. So I don't understand what the trauma of being in, Fallujah for like a week straight could manifest later in life. But I can tell you that I know guys who are like, yeah, I go, no, it's actually pretty great when you have really bad, really awful trauma. So what do I know? I'm not a doctor. Certainly more research needs to be done on the subject. But now we got no less a dude than former Captain Corvette, Governor Rick Perry, out there saying, hey, there might be something to this stuff. Yeah, like anxiety and depression. It's called pot. I know that for years you've been pushing everybody to, when you're feeling a little down, here, have a drink. Would you have a rough day? Here, have a glass of scotch, maybe 2. You want a beer? No, I want to take 2 hits off a bowl and forget about everything. Oh, that's illegal. That's the devil's lettuce. We're coming around. We're coming around. We're starting to realize we had some misfires. There was no fucking reason for cocaine to exist. There's not, other than it's the greatest drug ever. I mean, cocaine is like, this drug is so good. It serves absolutely no fucking purpose other than to make everybody using it really irritating to people not using it. But holy fuck, the person using it is feeling euphoric, unstoppable. There's no purpose for cocaine. There's no purpose for cocaine. As good as it is, there is no fucking... I remember I did coke. I was dating a girl who introduced me to cocaine. I mean, she wasn't like a big cokehead, but she did it. She was like, my friends are you want to try something? I'm like, all right, I'll try some. So I don't know, for like whatever period of months that I was dating her, it'd be around. And I remember the first time I did it, I said to myself, I go, this is so good. This is how I'm going to die. I totally understand Chris Farley. I totally understand how this happens. That's also the reason why I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not going to really do that anymore. But I've tried everything. Not heroin or crack or meth. Those, I don't want to try those. Heroin, I think you all know that I'm going to try heroin probably my 75th birthday. Although maybe 80 now. I don't know. I keep moving it. But at some point when I'm like super old, I'm going to try heroin. Because everybody says like, oh, the warmth of your body and the heroin, it's the feeling of, being kissed by Jesus. Whatever it is. I don't know. I want to try it before I check out. I want to try it at like 80. I'm like, spike me up, pal. Let me try it. I don't feel the same way about methamphetamine or crack or anything like that. Those seem like gross drugs. Those seem like dirty drugs. I also don't like pills. I don't like to take pills. I really do fall onto the side of, if this fucking thing grows out of the ground and, Indians used to do it, then it's probably okay. All right, Rick Perry. Rick Perry's out here tripping balls. All right, here's a story that I thought was interesting that we could share. This came from CNBC today. They do this every year. A lot of times they do it with just sports teams or whatever. But this year is the first time I've seen this one. They've made their list of the most valuable sports empires in the world. All right, now what is a sports empire? Well, an empire is, I guess it's more than just owning one team, although that's not necessarily the law here because that'll become apparent shortly. But there's a lot of guys who own multiple teams, right? Doesn't the guy who own, I was just going to say, does the guy, Tom Hicks, who used to own the Rangers, then he owned Liverpool in the Premier League and, then somebody maybe like there's like the guy who owns the Bulls, Jerry Reinsdorf. He also owns the White Sox and he owns like some minor league teams. So he's got a sports empire, right? So that's what a sports empire is. CNBC came out with their list, 2025 most valuable sports empires in the world, by the way. And just so we're clear, it looks like it's all pretty much Americans. We like our sports. All right, you want to do the top 5? Let's do the top 5 sports empires in the world. Should we do the top 10? Wow, they go all the way. Wow. Oh my God, they go all the way to 20. All right, we're going to do the top 5. Here we go. The top 5 most valuable sports empires in the world. Coming in at number 5 at an evaluation of $12.6 billion, it is James Dolan and the Madison Square Garden Sports Corporation. James Dolan and his sports corporation oversees the NHL's New York Rangers, the NBA's New York Knicks, the AHL's Hartford Wolfpack. There you go. Good enough for number 5. Number 4 on our list of the most valuable sports empires, we've got the Fenway Group. That is John Henry. He is the co-founder and co-owner of the Fenway Group. Here's what we're talking about here. We got, obviously, the Boston Red Sox, the Premier League over it, right? That's a big one. I know we don't care about it here because it ain't NFL football, but over there, it's their NFL. He owns Liverpool. So he's got the Red Sox, he's got Liverpool, he's got the NHL's Pittsburgh Penguins. He owns NESN, which is the New England Sports Network, and he also owns the the PGA Tour. He owns the PGA Tour? John Henry of Fenway Sports Group owns the PGA Tour. Wow. All right, there you go. That's number 4 in our list of the largest sports empires, $14.19 billion. Coming in at number 3 at $14.5 billion, we've got the Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment Group. Josh Harris is the co-founder. NFL's Washington Commanders are a part of this. The NBA's 76ers, Philly, is also a part of this. The NHL's New Jersey Devils and the Premier League's Crystal Palace. Wow. And that's only good enough for number 3. That's wild. An NFL team, an NBA team, an NHL team, and a Premier League team. Wow. All right, that's the Harris Blitzer Group. Josh Harris and David Blitzer, co-founders of that sports empire. Number 2 on the list. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This is a bloated evaluation. This is insane. Number 2, largest sports empire, the Jones family. 15.5 evaluation for the Jones family. Here's what they own. The Cowboys. All right, moving on. The Cowboys aren't worth 50. Actually, they give a little bit more of what they own. They own the Cowboys. They own the Star in Frisco. And that's good enough for the family, the Jones family, to be worth $15.53 billion, second on the list of largest empires. And they don't even have an empire. They got one NFL team. That is insanely overvalued. What? I get it. Like, if you're old like me, you remember the Landry Cowboys and America's team and all of that, but they ain't been that in a long time. You'll point to the 90s. That was a diminishment of the brand. I'm sorry. Those 90s teams, they were socially unacceptable individuals. The 70s teams with Landry and Staubach, they were the Ken dolls. They were the G.I. Joes. They were the white hat cowboy hero guys that America fell in love with. They were America's team. The fucking guys in the 90s were a bunch of cokeheads. I know. Too Tall Jones back in the 70s was getting into some stuff. I know. But Jesus Christ, I mean, my God, the Cowboys, number 2, CNBC's largest sports empires of 2025, the Jones family, number 2, $15.53 billion. Number 1, boy, this has got to irritate Jerry Jones because this is a friend of his. And it's not even close. He's number 1, and they're number 1 by a wide margin. The Kroenke Sports and Entertainment Group is number 1, the largest sports empire on the planet with a value of $21.17 billion. The Kroenke Group. He also, this is another thing that bothers Jerry Jones. Stan Kroenke has the largest yacht in the world. And I think it was Jerry Jones who used to have the largest yacht in the world, but Stan Kroenke made his yacht even bigger. And I understand, as the story goes, Jerry Jones had just bought his world's largest yacht like a year before. So it's not like he could just throw it out in time for a new yacht. He was just going to roll around in the second largest yacht because Stan Kroenke, the number 1 sports emperor in the world right now, is at number one with $21.17 billion. He, of course, owns the Rams. He owns SoFi Stadium. He owns the, all right, let's go through what he owns. So Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, the number one sports empire in the world, is comprised of the Los Angeles Rams, the NBA's Denver Nuggets, the NHL's Colorado Avalanche, and Premier League's Arsenal. Oh, man. Okay, those are good ones. Those are all good ones. All right, very good. There you have it. CNBC's 2025 Sports Empires list. Let's see. What else do we want to go into here? Oh, there's this. Yeah, this happened. So let me play something for you. Tell me if you're like me. Does this make you happy? This makes me so happy. Here, listen. How many times have we heard this in the last couple of days? One more time. All right, if you're an old head like me, then of course you recognize that as the sign of freedom for anybody in the late 90s looking to escape for a couple of hours, fall down a new bunny hole. Something new, man, the internet. It was brand new, and that is the sound of AOL dial-up from back in the day. We all had it. None of us had connect. You kids today with the opening and the hitting of the button and you're already connected. We used to have to go through that. I remember there was a phone. I had to disconnect the phone. I had to put it into the modem. And then we heard the welcome. I remember that? Remember the welcome? Welcome. You've got mail. All right. Well, AOL is discontinuing their dial-up service. The story broke over the weekend. People have been talking about it. That sound brings back a lot of memories. That was a good sound. It was a terrible sound, but it was a good sound because it meant the future. That sound, you heard that and you were like, ooh, I'm going to see porn. And I don't know what I first got online for. It was probably porn. It couldn't have been porn. Couldn't have been like the first thing I got online with, right? Anyway, AOL is ending their dial-up service. I can't believe it's still around. That's such a wild story, but hey, good memories. What was the point of that sound? Like that's a terrible sound. That isn't an objectively terrible sound. It is irritating. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It is not a pretty sound. Why? Why do we have to hear that sound? Why did they feel? I mean, is that to get our attention? I'd love to know the story behind that sound because I don't believe we're actually listening to the computer getting connected and stuff. Because I remember back in the time, that's what I thought. I'm like, wow, that's obviously what the computer sounds like when it's connecting with the World Wide Web and all over the world. And I didn't know what I was talking about. But why does it sound like that? Like, why? Did they? Because I think they probably had to make it sound like something because new technology, people are going to be like, is it working? I don't know if it's working. So they probably needed to make it sound like something. But I don't know why they made it sound. I don't know why they chose that sound. It seems like they had to do it again. They probably would have come up with a better sound. But I'm glad they didn't because what a memory. Let's see here. What else do we want to do? Excuse me. All right, guys, have you seen this? This has been trending I think I first saw it on Sunday. And again, is this like the Sydney Sweeney thing? Because it's, people are outraged. People are, do you know this whole trad marriage, trad wife kind of thing that's going on? It's like a big thing. And like there are people making big money on the interwebs, being like, we're a trad couple or stands for traditional. It's basically like, I was going to say basically like your grandparents, but not like my grandparents. My grandma got up every morning at 5 o'clock and worked in downtown Chicago until she was 80 years old. But, the traditional sort of path that one might find traditionally in like the 1880s, where the woman just stays home and cooks and cleans. And so that's what trad wife and stuff is. It's a trigger for a lot of people. Like a lot of people, there's these girls who are big influencers, who are trad wife influencers, and they're always just smoking. They're just like smoking hot. And they're just like, I make my husband a 4-course meal every night while wearing the latest negligee from Victoria's. And she's just super hot. And the food she makes looks great. And then he comes home. Right. And it's always, the home is always like something you're like, that's easily a $1 million suburban home. That is, what does this guy do? And he always looks like he drives a pickup truck and works construction, but obviously he's the owner's son. So he comes in, he's like, yeah, baby. Anyway, it's the traditional thing. And people go nuts about it. People are like, oh, she can do so much more. Yeah, but she doesn't want to. So fuck off. What do you care? These people who are like, these trad wives, they're horrible. No, they're not. One, they're funny because they're pissing you off if you are in fact really pissed off. As we learned from the earlier discussion about the Sydney Sweeney outrage, a lot of you aren't really upset at all about this. So there's a lot of conversation now about traditional values in marriage. I'll tell you what I like. I love smart women. I love ballsy women. I love women with opinions, and I love women who don't need to ask me permission to go do something kick-ass, right? So I like women who want a career. I like women who want a job. It's just something I find very attractive. That doesn't mean that I'm not attracted to the hot influencer chick who's like, do you like my negligee? Want more meatloaf? It's like, that's great too, right? I just don't know if that's, So as far as the whole traditional thing goes, hey, I don't know that would be something I would go after. I think that, look, if you fall in love, you fall in love. But my point is this. I like a woman who has a career and a passion and all that kind of stuff. I like that. Okay. But so what if you don't? So what if your career and your passion is to be Martha fucking Stewart to your husband and raise a bunch of kids who, you're their field trip mom and, you're going to all the events? That's great. That is great. I don't know why this is suddenly a negative in this country, where someone who goes, we're a traditional couple, suddenly gets met with 1,000 liberal bots all going, you can do so much more. Why are you cloistering your woman? This is like the Handmaid's Tale. No, it's not. It's a fucking choice. Can we all just stop pretending like if we all had a choice, we wouldn't just not work, right? I mean, it's like if we all had the choice, you could all quit your job today, and tomorrow when you wake up, your day is yours. You can do whatever you want. And wouldn't that be great if you had that and you had someone that you were in love with who didn't do that, who went out and had a job and all that stuff, but was totally okay with you, not really doing anything, hanging around, maybe making dinner, cleaning the house? I would take that. I would totally take that. If I met a woman who was a super successful attorney and she was like, you don't really even have to work, I'd be like, cool. That's nice. I will be a non-trad husband because that's not traditional for the male role. But let's stop demonizing women who are like, hey, I met a guy, he's got money, I don't have to work. Let's stop acting like all of us are in these really fulfilling careers. The vast majority of us are not in fulfilling careers. The vast majority of us go to fucking jobs that we can't stand because we got to pay our rent or our mortgage or our car payment. That's the drudgery of life. Very few of us, are able to just, live out our dreams on our terms. So the whole trad wife and trad family conversation is now surrounding Halle Berry. Halle Berry, Holy Berry. Hottie Berry is what I call her. Her former husband, David Justice, the Major League Baseball player, went on a podcast over the weekend, and he was asked directly, dude, why did you break up with Halle Berry? Why did you leave Halle Berry? And he gave an answer that, a lot of people feel that they are, compelled to respond to. So let's watch it. Here it is. David Justice talking about why he left Halle Berry. And by the way, this is going back like 20 years, right? Maybe even more. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. All right, here we go. David Justice.
Major issues like that. We never had any major issues like that. Mm-hmm. It's just that because I was young and had only been in, honestly, one real relationship before her, my knowledge and my understanding, my wisdom around relationships just wasn't vast. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at my mom, and I'm a Midwest guy. So in my mind, I'm thinking a wife at that time should cook, clean.
Traditional.
And then I'm thinking, okay, if we have kids, is this the woman I want to have kids with and build a family with? And at that time, as a young guy, she don't cook, don't clean, don't really seem like motherly. And then we started having issues. We never had.
All right, there you go. That's basically it. Dropped out, and then we started having issues. But obviously, he is being roundly criticized by bots. I'm telling you, real people do not have a problem with this. Bots posing as blue-haired lesbians from California who are now screaming about how this is no reason to leave a woman. Because she won't cook and clean for you? Why don't you cook and clean for yourself? And I'm like, well, because he's a Major League Baseball player, and he's a very good one. And I imagine that his training occupies a great deal of his day. And if he's going to cook and clean for himself, he's just going to hire his fucking trainer to do that. All right. But in this particular situation, he's talking about his wife. So what did he say that was so provocative to people? Or pretend people, bot people. What he said was, when I looked at her, she didn't cook, she didn't clean, and she didn't seem to have any of the characteristics that would make for a good mother. So I didn't want to, move. So that's why he left her. He was a young man. He was a young guy. He's dating the world's most beautiful woman, Halle Berry, a movie star. It's fun for him. Like you said, he's a kid from the Midwest. He's suddenly in the spotlight because he has a breakout years with the Atlanta Braves. He's suddenly a big name. He's dating a big movie star. This is all new to him. He's like a hayseed. And he's with this Hollywood movie star. And what have I told you people for years about actresses? They are the worst fucking people on the planet. They're not real women. They are shells of women who pretend to be whatever woman they need to be. But when it actually comes time for them to be a real person, they are broken. They are shattered. And everything is an attempt to get attention back on them. That's actresses. Yes, I've dated actresses. Went to a college that was just nothing but actresses. The only girls were actresses. Their drama and theater department was like, I told you about the girl who started crying because I couldn't find a parking spot. I was like, oh, fucking actresses. I'm trying to find a parking spot. We're going to Buddy Guy's Legends. I'm trying to find a parking spot. And like a guy was like pulling out, but he wouldn't pull out. Like, he got in his car and I'm like, is he leaving or not? Because I would like that spot. And I started to get a little irritated. And I'm like, come on, what the fuck? And I hit my horn. And I'm like, Jesus, this fucking guy. That was it. That was the extent of my reaction. I look out of my peripheral vision and she's fucking crying. She's crying because of our issues and I'm like, oh, fucking actresses. Was this an opportunity for you to emote? Was this see if you could get tears going? So you manufactured this whole fucking thing. Now I got to walk into the bar and meet my friends with some chick whose mascara is running because she made herself cry. Actresses are the worst. So David Justice broke up with Halle Berry because she didn't cook, she didn't clean. He was a young man. He was thinking about his future. Look, most men of that age, when they're getting into a relationship with somebody and it's getting serious, you start to think about, where does this go? And I'm sorry, blue-haired lesbians from California who may or may not be actual people who had a real problem with this comment by David Justice. Fuck off. I'm sorry, but that's what men do. It doesn't matter how hot you are, what a sexy club girl you are, or whatever. If you're trying to land a man, okay? If that's your goal, and not all women's goals are to land men. Yeah, I know. That's why I said if you are one of these people, not all women, but if you are one of these people whose goal it is to go out there and land yourself a man, you're going to want to show some characteristics that would tell him that you're going to be a good woman and mother. And what does he have to go on? Nothing, because he's 25 years old. He's a baseball player with millions. That's what you're trying to hook up with. He doesn't have any idea of what a woman is other than what he's seen from his grandma and his mom. So get off David Justice's back. As a young kid looking at Halle Berry going, could I be married to her and have kids? And coming to the conclusion that no, she's fucking awful because she's an actress doesn't make him a bad guy. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. Those aren't prerequisites. But if you are the one that is most important, that seems to be given the least attention, is that he said she didn't have characteristics that he thought would make a good mother. Boy, oh boy, I don't know if that hurt her or whatever, but that's a real one, ladies. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a real one. Men talk about that shit. Men, I mean, maybe not to themselves. We don't have that kind of, group, but men actually like, if a guy is with you, right, and he's refusing to commit, it might be because he doesn't think you'd be a good mother. Maybe because you're a bitch or you're cold or you're not warm, you're not caring, you're not comforting, all of those things that a man looks at a woman like, okay, so when I'm out fighting wars and, hunting bear, what's going to be going on back at the campsite? Is she going to be nice to my kids? Is she going to love my kids? That's something that is important to men, I think, when they're deciding what woman they want to knock up. And David Justice looked at Halle Berry and went, man, she's hot and I'm going to bang her for a few more months, but I am out of here because she is nuts. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's not saying that all women need to be, in the kitchen cooking and cleaning and all that. What he's saying is that for him, when he was 25 and in a relationship with the world's most famous and beautiful woman, he was looking for something that would indicate that she would be a good life partner, and he didn't find it. So leave him alone. Thank you. All right, that's the David Justice and Halle Berry story. Once again, folks, let me take a moment here in the show to remind you that tonight we are doing Trash Trivia live from Bonker Town. Seriously. I said live. I was going to say live from Bonkers. I don't know what that even means. Excuse me. A lot of noises coming out of this sexy vessel. Back nine tonight, 4030 Beltline Road in Addison. Trash Trivia, 7:30. Come one, come all. We're going to have a nice crowd tonight, I think. I'm getting some good. It's growing. It's been a lot of fun the last couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. All right, that's tonight. You can look down below. It's been scrolling all day. So come on out, say hello. Oh, and that's the other thing, man. That is the other damn thing. Because this happened not last week, but 2 weeks before. And I told you guys, if anybody who happens to listen to this show and you just end up coming out and you're going to sit there, you just want to watch it, you're going to go to the bar and have a beer and all that, you got to tell me. You got to tell me that, you listen to this show. Because I go around, I say hi to everybody, right? I give everybody, I'm like, hey, you want to play trivia? And I try and get people involved. There was a guy a couple of weeks ago who came out and he was sitting there and he played trivia all by himself. And then when it was over and everybody was leaving, I was walking out and he said, hey, I just wanted to say hi. And he introduced himself as somebody who listens to the YouTube show. I was like, dude, I'm on my way out. What are you doing? We should be friends now. Why are you doing this now? Anyway, so if you do come out, please make sure that, you say hi. Because, I feel terrible when it's like, oh man, somebody put on shoes and got in a car and drove out here to watch me play trivia because they listened to my show and I begged people to come out, and then they were here and they didn't say, hey, I'm here, and now I feel like an ass. When is it coming out? Breaking news. Taylor Swift to release 12th studio album. We talked about it at the top of the show. When's it coming out? I don't know. All right. Let's keep going here. Well, this sucks. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really suck, because if I'm being honest, somebody died, and this person who died, I honestly haven't thought of in 40 years. I did. When I saw that this person died today, I looked at it and I went, oh, and I felt bad. I felt bad because I was like, oh my God, I haven't thought about this person in 40 years, and now they're dead. Very sad. Let's see here. Dead today. And by the way, we got to figure out how this works into our death trilogy that I'm keeping track of. Celebrities die in threes, right? D from What's Happening. D. Thomas. Remember D. Thomas from What's Happening? Her real name is Danielle Spencer. She was an actress on the 70s and 80s situation comedy, What's Happening? A situation comedy that I don't know what that was. Like today, I've worked in media now since, the early 1990s. I understand how media works, and I'm still not entirely sure What's Happening was. I believe in the very beginning, it started out as an ABC network situation comedy. I think it started on ABC, and I think it was on at like 7 o'clock on Monday nights or whatever. But then it seemed to go on forever. But it was never on ABC again. Now it was always on like some UHF channel on like Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. It'd be like, look, it's What's Happening. Then they changed it to like What's Happening Now. I love What's Happening. Yeah, let's watch a little bit of D. D was Raj Thomas's little sister. And if you remember the show, and maybe you don't, I'm probably Rerun. Remember Rerun? He used to do like hip hop dancing before we had a name for it or whatever, popping and locking and all that. He did it. It was great. We loved it. I don't know if he was a good dancer, but he was like 400 pounds, and we were all like, "Look at the fat black guy! This is great TV. It's a fat black guy. You don't say that around here." Let's watch a little bit of Danielle Spencer, who played D, Raj's little sister. She's freaking awesome. She was mean. She was a bitch. She seemed to be in control of everything all the time. She was the little sister, and everybody was petrified of D's ire. D could trust you down. D was always pissed. She was very good. I will say this, after I saw this trending and I learned a little bit more about her, I started like reading. There's a lot of tributes coming in to her, Danielle Spencer, who would go on. She stopped acting as a child. She had a terrible car accident during the filming of What's Happening. It caused her a lifelong of issues, paralysis. She's paralyzed, when she was like 50 because of this car accident that happened when she was like 14. She became a veterinarian. Dr. Danielle Spencer is who she has been for the last, 30 years of her life or whatever. But above and beyond that, she was a tremendous actress. She really was good in this role. She could deliver these lines with confidence, with like a boiling rage between her eyes. She was good. Let's watch Danielle Spencer, D, who I always thought was the high spot. If we're being honest, the funny people on What's Happening were D, who we're going to see now, and Shirley, right? Shirley, the waitress, we all love Shirley. But I think she's been dead for years. Let's watch D. Here you go. Here's D. Thomas from What's Happening. Danielle Spencer, Dr. Danielle Spencer, passed away today, cancer at the age of 61, I think. Oh, by the way, D is the little girl on the phone. Just so you know, the little girl on the phone is who died today. look at how, I mean, that's acting. I know we take it for granted we're not actors, but look at how she like slinks into the wall and gets comfortable. And now she is not a 10-year-old girl anymore. Now she's like a 35-year-old mother of 5 who is lecturing. She's just good. She's just good. The slump where she slumps into the wall. I just think that's a great choice. All right. There you go. All right. That's going to do it. Oh, did I lose it? Did we not see it? Did none of that share? Oh, God. Jesus Christ. None of that shared. Fuck. I'm sorry. It was sharing and then it stopped. Yeah, I see that it stopped. That sucks. All right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. We'll try this again.
Is Mama home?
Just a minute, Robin. What is the matter with you coming in this house yelling, is Mama home? Can't you see I'm on the telephone? Listen, when you walk into a house and you see a person on their telephone, you don't come in shouting, is Mama home? You wait until a person is finished talking on the telephone, and then you say very nicely, is Mama home? Robin, my brother just came in. I have to teach him the new manners. Why didn't you comb her hair before she came?
By the way, you guys remember this kid? This kid right here. Well, I think most famously, Cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch. He was in like the last season of the Brady Bunch. They moved him into the house as Cousin Oliver. What's his name? God, he's got one of those names where you're like, oh yeah, that's a 70s name. I haven't heard that since the 70s. This kid was in everything. This kid got a shitload of work. Well, all right, now we're going to find out because now his name is going to kill me. Who played Cousin Oliver? All right, Oliver was played by Robbie Wrist. All right, what do you think, Robbie? You think Robbie Wrist is dead or alive? What do you think? How old is Robbie Wrist? Oh, wow. Dude, he's super. Robbie Wrist, Cousin Oliver is like 6 years older than me. Good Lord. He's still alive. Good for him. All right, now let's get back to our tribute to D, who's in the process of dressing down Robbie Wrist.
He is not a she. He is a he.
Well, she looks like a she to me.
Are you all together?
Are you?
All right, there you go. It's Danielle Spencer, Dr. Danielle Spencer. She played Dee Thomas on What's Happening, a show that I still don't know what that was. Was that a syndicated show? Was that a network show? Is What's Happening and What's Happening Now two different shows? A lot of fat people on that show. That's my big takeaway. There were more fat people on that show. Fat people weren't on TV back then. What's happening? Everybody was really fat. You had Rerun, super fat. Rerun was the dancer. Fred Rerun Berry, he became kind of a breakout star. He was the Fonz, if you will, of what's happening. So you had Rerun, he was really fat. You had Mama Thomas. You had the mom who played Mabel, I can't remember what's her name, she's an actress. Mabel, whatever. The mom was like super fat, like obese fat. Like, you know, oh my God, she's like 350, like fat. And then there was Shirley. Remember Shirley, the waitress at the diner that they hung out at? Shirley was fatter than all of them. Shirley was like 600 pounds. Not a healthy show. And then Raj, who's the star of it, he was like severely underweight. He was like way too skinny. I guess that's what happens. All right, there you go. Anyway, she's dead now. April says, I've never heard of this show or saw it. Okay, so that's interesting to me. What's happening? Well, hold on. well, now just for April, I'm glad I didn't make what's happening any trivia today. There you go. Let's see what this is. Banger. All-time banger of a theme song. Right? Wasn't that the theme song? Isn't that it? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. What's happening? TV show intro. All right. Yeah, we got it. All right. This will work. It was a crazy show because it was all black people. It was like the only show with all black people. Like, I don't think there were ever any white people in this show. It was all black people, and it was the only one. And I used to watch it, and I'd be like, this is an exotic show for me. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. This show probably taught more white suburban teenagers about black culture than anything else. Here we go. That's Raj. Raj is the star of the show. Raj is smart. Raj is capable. Oh, but he's surrounded by craziness. All right, that's Haywood Nelson. I believe is he Dwayne or is he Wayne? There was a Dwayne Wayne on A Different World, but I think he's Wayne. All right, he's one of Raj's buddies. Okay, so look at this. Here's Fred Rerun Berry. He's the fat guy. Look at him. Hey, put a sandwich in the fat guy's hand. It'll be hysterical because he sees a fat guy and he's going to be there like, hey, I'm the fat guy and I'm eating. Right? That's what's going on here. Let me point something out about Fred Rerun Berry. He ain't as fat as I remember. This dude right here is not as fat as I remember. I remember being stunned by Fred Rerun Berry. If you were fat in my neighborhood back then, they called you Rerun. He doesn't look that fat. Seriously, though, this like Stax recording session electric piano going on right now. This is a good theme song. All right, there's Shirley. She's really fat. Shirley Hemphill. You've seen her in a bunch of things. She was the fat lady on TV for like 20 years. And then, as is the case with a lot of fat ladies on TV, she died. That's Dee. This is Dee, the little sister. And there's the mom. The mom's even fatter than all of them. There's a lot of fat people on this show. Is Mabel King. She's actually a very well-respected theater actress from the Black Theater. Hold on. Go back. I want to go back to the Okay. All right. This is good. Black American Life in the 1970s, brought to you by 3 Jews, a Yorkin, Ornstein, and a Turtle Taub. Yeah, they're gonna tell the story for it. It's a great show. It's a great show, What's Happening. And when I say great show, I mean it's probably a terrible show. I imagine if I watched just an episode of What's Happening Now, I'd be like, this show is terrible. We have come a long way. Anyway, Danielle Spencer, Dr. Danielle Spencer, who played Dee Thomas, she died today at the age of 61 years old, cancer. Haywood Nelson put out a beautiful sort of thing to the media, letting everybody know that she passed away. She had a really rough life. During the second season of What's Happening, she was involved in a car accident with her stepfather. Her stepfather was killed. Her spine was severed. She broke legs, she broke an arm, and somehow the timing was so weird that she was in a coma for 2 weeks, but she never missed a day of filming. She showed up for day 1 of season 2, and she would, for the rest of her life, have all kinds of like physical issues due to the accident. When she was in her late 30s, she would become paralyzed from the accident. So the accident occurred when she was like 13. And then, she lived all of her life in pain, but she could walk. And then finally she couldn't walk anymore. So she was paralyzed from her late 30s. She became a veterinarian. She became actually a very successful veterinarian. She had a really big practice with multiple locations. Then she got breast cancer. 2005, she got breast cancer, double mastectomy, paralyzed, life of pain because of the accident, double mastectomy. When she is okay, she's taking care of animals. And then, cancer comes back and now she's dead. So there you go. That's the sad story. Not the sad story. Great life. Cool chick. Fun. She went through things. There you go. Now, where are we in our death trilogy? Where does Dr. Danielle, excuse me, where does Dee from What's Happening Now? Where does Dee fit in the death trilogy thing? First of all, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, she's the top 3 D of all time. Yeah, if I'm doing D draft, all right, I'm gonna do a D draft. Number 1 D of all time is, of course, Dee Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Caitlin Olsen's Dee Reynolds. It's number 1 D of all time. I'm going Dee Thomas from What's Happening. I'm going the late Danielle Spencer as number 2 D of all time. And number 3 D of all time, let's go D Light. Let's go Groove is in the Heart. Let's go. There you go. There is my top 3 Ds. But that doesn't answer the question, where are we in the whole death trilogy thing? So let's figure out what the last death trilogy was. The last complete death trilogy, 3 celebrities dying all within 10 days of each other. That death trilogy was Ryan Sandberg, Hulk Hogan, and Lonnie Anderson. There you go. We just completed that one. Then we had last Friday, we had the passing of Apollo 13 American hero Jim Lovell. So Jim Lovell starts a whole new death trilogy, and joining him is going to be Dee Thomas from What's Happening. She better not. Look, Jim Lovell's a very nice man, but Dee better not pull that Dee talking to him, I'm on the phone nonsense with Jim Lovell. That man's a Marine. He is not going to take that bullshit from her. Who will join them? Will anyone join them? We now have 10 days to have another major celebrity die who will then be in this death trilogy. If another celebrity doesn't die in 10 days, then this is an unfinished trilogy and we just move on from it. Please, I want so much better for Jim Lovell. Can we get him a big movie star or something now? Because that would be a good, let's get Jim Lovell a good 3rd for his death trilogy. Guys, that's it. I think we're done. Hey, that's the show. Okay, tonight 7:30, the back 9. We're gonna do some trivia. Once again, I'll give you the categories for trivia tonight. Let me see. Where's trivia? Where's our categories? Tonight's categories at the back 9, 7:30. We're gonna be doing this 7:30 p.m. 4060 Beltline Road in beautiful sunny swinging Addison, Texas. Our categories for trash trivia. Round 1 will be random. We start out with a little stretching, just a little something. Everything's on the table, right? We're going to start out with a random category. Then we're going to do a current events category, followed by a category all about fast food. Who doesn't love fast food? Then the 4th category of round 1, drinks. My voice is already leaving. Oh my God. It's not going to be good for tonight. Oh no. Okay, so round 1 is random, current events, fast food, and drinks. Round 2 is going to be 80s rock, media creatures. Media creatures are people who are famous for no discernible talent reason. They've just somehow been elevated to popular, and now we know who they are. So 80s rock, media creatures, bad hair. All the answers will be people who have different degrees of bad hair. Bad hair and name the cast. I'll give you 3 people who were in something together. You tell me what it was that they were in together. Those are our 8 smoking categories for tonight's Back 9 Trash Trivia. 7:30 tonight, 4060 Beltline Road. Come one, come all. Oh, by the way, I didn't do this. I said today's show brought to us by Peter. Peter dropped a tip yesterday. We're at the part of the month where I don't ask for tips and all that, but it's nice when you guys think, or he's like, hey, that was a good show today. Here's a little something. I do appreciate that. So thank you so much, Peter. What else do we need to do? Tomorrow, a normal show will be a normal time. And that's it. You guys, you're awesome. See you tomorrow. Bye.